bitch, hola. Let's get caller 9 on the line right now, 844-999. Ola, profile this is coming up.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.
99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Racial consultant standing by. We'll take caller 9 right now, 844-999. Ola, and you'll play profile this in minutes. And we do have your headlines on the way 1 hour from now. First, quick check into Mike Hawk for some of the stories and headlines he is not working on. Mike Hawk off today. Steve the Throw Hill has headlines coming up. I will give you the stories that Steve is not working on because I'm the one working on them.
Except you're not.
A new study found night owls are 10% more likely to die young.
That makes sense, man. I'll die young, man.
They also have higher rates of diabetes, psychological disorders, and neurological issues. Basically say if you have sleep apnea, if you are drinking, if you are on drugs, if you are worried, if you have all types of things, these things can keep you up at night. Acid reflux, physical issues, mental issues.
I just stay up late because
I wasn't drinking or smoking, but I still sat up till like 1:30 last night.
I stay up late because the kids go to bed and then you get your peace. You know what I mean? Like, for me, that's everything.
Sure. That's 10% more likely to die young. Someone in New York thought they saw a tiger running around Manhattan yesterday morning. It turned out it really was just a big-ass raccoon. How big was that raccoon?
How big and orange is a raccoon that people thought it was a tiger?
Must have had some really nice stripes.
What would freak you out more, to see a tiger that's the size of a tiger or to see a raccoon that is, in fact, as big as a tiger?
I think it would be better to see a tiger the size of a raccoon. Because if
I
you
would
got a
agree.
raccoon the size of a tiger, you are in big trouble.
Wait a minute, is it a regular tiger or a
regular tiger?
But the size of a raccoon.
But the raccoon is now the size. So
Wait a minute, is the tiger raccoon sized or regular sized?
Raccoon sized.
The tiger is raccoon sized.
Right.
The raccoon has become tiger sized. Which
Well,
one are
then
you
take
dealing
the
with?
raccoon tiger.
Really?
No way.
Yes.
I take the little tiny tiger.
No,
every
you know
time.
what? Man, I don't know.
It's
That's what
still
I'm
a
saying.
cat.
Right, the tiger is now the size of a raccoon.
Yeah, I'm taking that one.
I'm saying the
tiger.
raccoon tiger.
Oh,
the small
Okay,
one.
all right, I got it.
Okay, all right. A bakery in Oregon.
Do you want the tiger raccoon or the raccoon tiger?
A bakery in Oregon just shattered a world record by making a giant how many pound cinnamon roll? How many pounds?
15.
Bigger.
25.
Higher. Bigger.
75.
Higher.
1,000.
Let's start at 750 pounds and move upward.
Jesus.
1,000 pound.
1,000 higher.
1,500.
1,150 pound cinnamon roll. It was made at Wolferman's Gourmet Bakery. Any idea? You're a baker, Robin.
And then what are they going to do with it now?
Do you know what they do? You know what they do, though, honest to God? You know those...
Throw away a lot of food?
They, you ever get a Harry and David magazine at your house?
Harry,
You can order baskets or fruit. I don't know. My mom used to get them delivered to the home.
I am not.
It's not in my demographic. However, I remember the junk mail that we would get. We would occasionally get a basket of apples. It's the bakery that makes the Harry and David stuff. So
I just feel like Harry's not a name you should have when you're doing food.
No.
I always wonder if any of that giant food's good.
It might be good, but again, no one's going to eat the whole thing.
No. But I mean, like when they make the giant pizza or the giant hamburger, like, is any of it any good? How do you cook a cinnamon roll that big?
Yeah, where's your oven?
According to scientists, maybe take it easy this weekend. A new study found drinking more than 10 alcoholic beverages a week will cut 2 years off your life. And drinking twice that can cut 5 years off. Just remember this. Those last 2 years probably suck. You're pooping yourself.
Oh, sure.
You're eating soft foods. You can't get around very well.
That's why you're pooping yourself. All the soft food.
You know, it's like people don't put their animals down quick enough. You know what I mean? You're just prolonging the bad years.
There's been a lot of bad news today.
Some religious
Well,
notice.
night owls are dying young.
Yeah.
You have more than 10 beverages on a weekend, you're dying young.
Sure.
And then I saw if you're single, you're dying
Here's
young.
some positive
Basically,
news.
you're going to die young.
Yeah, it's about a wrap.
A religious nut is claiming the world will end later this month on April 23rd. That's a big deal because he also predicted the world would end back in September.
Well, keep guessing. One day you'll be right.
I feel like 5 times a year, like once a month, once every 2 months, you can have a reckoning.
Yes, probably so.
Always.
According to a new survey, the United States state that has the most French-speaking people at home is...
I read
Louisiana.
this. No, that was my guess, and I guessed that with confidence. I said, "What do you think we're stupid?"
Yeah.
It's Louisiana, man. There's the Cajun, there's the Creole. Good. Have you been there?
Oh,
And-
maybe it's New York because Montreal's so close.
No.
The correct answer is Maine.
Yep.
How many people will you kiss in your lifetime before you find the one? According to a new study, women will kiss how many people?
30.
Close. How many will men kiss?
100.
25 for men, 22 for the ladies. Would it not be strange? Because kissing is one thing that we've all done in various forms or fashions since we were younger. And
Not
kissing,
even always your face.
Kissing like, in middle school or high school or whatever. Could you imagine being able to see all the people that you've actually locked lips with in your lifetime in one room?
Let me ask you
Would
this.
that be weird?
Let me ask you this. What would be worse for you? That you had to sit there and they have a still photograph of every person you kissed, or we get to look at it first? Like, before they remind you, like, we all get to see who you've kissed.
I think it would be really strange to be like, oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
It would be very weird to remember because look, man, unless you've only kissed a handful of people, you probably forgot most of the people that you've kissed.
Do you think you'd remember each of their names?
No.
I'm saying there's no way.
Hell no.
I think
No
I'm in.
way.
I think I'm in. I'd like to see that room.
I would
Okay.
too. I would like
Yeah.
to see it, but
That's a lot of blondes, Ted.
Yeah, I think there'd be some in there. People are like, good work. We're like, yeah.
All right, high
I
five.
didn't get all the way, but we definitely kissed.
A new survey asked a bunch of divorced people what annoyed them the most about their ex. The top 5 answers are...
They still have my number.
Nope.
Oh.
Any guesses?
Is this when they were married or now?
Yes,
What
divorced
They
people.
smell bad
they
habit,
are
I
now
don't know.
divorced. What annoyed them the most about their ex while they were married?
The talking.
You know what? Pretty close. Selective hearing. In other words, you
Yeah.
are talking, it's just what you're hearing. Snoring coming in at number 2, being a control freak at number 3, being bad with money number 4, and avoiding chores number 5.
That
by
seems
the way-
about right.
Yeah. Guess what? You know we're trying to save the environment? Those hand dryers in public bathrooms are spraying fecal matter all over your hands, according to a new survey. Researchers found that the dryers suck up the fecal particles in the air, as typical fans do. There's an intake, there's an outtake, and then they blow them right back onto your hands.
Right, so it sucks the poop out of the air, heats it up, and then blows it onto your hands.
Pretty much.
Does that include even the cool Dyson ones?
Yes, anyone that
That's
has...
a shame.
Yeah, anything that has a fan, and it's going to have an intake and out, unless that intake is coming from the outside.
Which I would find very unlikely that your average establishment is so that you don't blow hot poop back on your hands.
And it never gets your hand completely dry.
No, so
You
now
always
you have
wipe-
warm, wet poop on your hand. That's
Johnson and
best guy.
Johnson is going to start selling contact lenses next year that have the technology from transition lenses in glasses.
Huh?
So they get darker when you go outside. The downside is they'll probably give you the freaky dark alien eyes when you're walking from place to place.
That's all right. People are already on their alien phones and talking to phantom wavelengths. It's all good. It's all
That
good.
would be kind of creepy, though, to see somebody with dark eyes.
Well, sure.
A new study found the most hipster cities in all the world based on
World.
things like record stores, coffee shops, and 7 of the 10 are in the United States of America. Any guesses what some of those hipster cities could possibly be?
Portland, Austin, Seattle.
Portland number 2, Seattle number 5,
Austin, I agree.
Brighton, England, believe it or not.
Okay.
Number 1, also Spokane, Washington,
Really?
makes
Yeah.
the list at
Just
number 10.
The whole Northwest.
A video game collector in Georgia bought 2 old Nintendo games at a flea market earlier this month, and when he came home, he said, I collect these things. These seem heavier than normal. So he decided to grab a screwdriver and open up said Nintendo, where he found drugs had been vacuum sealed inside. He called the cops. They are now investigating. They believe those drugs to be at least 30 years old. So
Would
the
you-
question
I'd give it a
remains,
try.
is 30-year-old cocaine still good?
I'd find out.
Do they say what the drug is?
Cocaine.
Oh.
But just, what does it spoil? I mean, like,
I don't know.
Depends
20
on what they cut it with, right?
29-year-old man in Louisiana got out of jail the other day and was too impatient to wait for his ride home, so he stole a bike. Got arrested again and got put back in jail. 2 years ago, a 24-year-old woman in Arkansas was preparing to give up her baby for an adoption when she met a woman on a flight to North Carolina.
all right.
And they became friends. Then she gave birth 3 days later, and the woman she met up adopting the kid.
You mean, I've met people like on planes,
So
but not
now
that much.
she gets to see her kid all the time, and the woman that she met on the plane is the mother of her children.
That's so convenient. She gets to see her kid all the time.
Yeah.
Like, she kept it.
Yeah,
That's
if you
wanted to see your kid all the
right?
time.
I thought a plane ride was for talking to someone once, getting their business card, and then never talking to them again.
No, and having their baby.
I understand. Okay. All right.
Getting lucky in the bathroom with them.
Okay.
All right, headlines are on the way 1 hour from now. First, the game is...
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Stephen Thrill-Hill, can you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes a story a story. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola! All right, Steve, you understand how this here game is played?
Yeah, sure do.
Fantastic. Here is your story. 2 men died after one of them fell into the sea taking a selfie, and then his friend jumped in to save him. But the pair, they drowned at the seaside town of Arica in Chile. Now, they had hoped to take some memorable pictures near the water, but tragedy struck when one of them slipped while taking a picture. Then his friend tried to get him out, but they say, man, the waves were crazy that day. So essentially, the waves sucked them back out to sea. They couldn't make it back to shore. Now, the friends were said to have been traveling to the Chilean capital, Santiago. They were going to start a new life. A family member of one of them said they were traveling to find their fortune, as is the dream of anyone who travels to another country, to look for decent work. They were young, studying. They'd finished their college and were studying for something more technical. Anyway, the men's bodies were apparently found 4 days later after an intense search by the Coast Guard of Chile. The question is, do you believe that these 2 friends who ended up drowning were black, white, Mexi, or Asian?
Ooh.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Ooh. In Chile?
Yeah, it was. They're not from Chile. They were there visiting, doing whatever it is they're doing. But, yeah, they were in the country of Chile.
That sounds kind of white to be like, hey, I'm going to move to Chile to find myself. I don't know.
Find myself in Chile.
That's what they were doing, like soul
Anybody
searching.
can drown.
I guess.
mean, you know, the...
Well, I mean,
Hey, look,
ocean.
waves came up, pulled them out, riptides, whatever. Look, you can
Yeah,
be a
this
competent
was- right.
swimmer. It's not a black people can't swim joke. You know what I mean? Like, this is serious stuff, I would guess.
yeah, the waves dragged these kids back out to sea.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, the consultant help, where's the tell? I'm not seeing it.
I think you already said it.
Yeah, I mean,
the white and, you know.
I mean,
hey,
yeah.
I'm going to move to Chile.
and they went in the ocean on their own. Like they wanted to go in the ocean.
No, they wanted to take a selfie like a pier.
Oh,
But
all right,
the one
all right.
kid fell in. His buddy jumped in to save him, but the waves basically slammed him against the pier, sucked him back out into the ocean. That's all she wrote.
All right, what do you think?
I don't know.
Could be
Steve, you got a final answer?
Let's go white. Let's go
White,
white.
final answer. We're going to find out if they were black, white, Mexican, or Asian next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to The Men's Room.
All right, sad story on Profile as we head down to Chile, where 2 guys are starting a new life. They're done with school, they're ready to rock, and they go down there and going to look for a job. But first, they go down the beach, down to the pier. One of the guys either jumps in or gets swept away by a wave. Who knows? But his buddy jumps in. Both of them found 4 days later.
Yeah. And Steve, we asked you, did you believe these 2 enterprising young men were black, white, Mexi, or Asian? In the end, you went white.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Mexi.
Huh.
Yeah. They're going to Chile to start a new life, man. Let's speak the language. They're good to go.
Okay. All right. Now for all TV news all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
You guys ever been to like a hot tub that has the seats inside, and then in the middle is like the really deep part, right?
I don't think I've been in one that big, where it gets real deep in the middle. I mean, seats on the side, sure.
I mean, I don't mean like deep. I mean like 3 feet, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hot tub.
Yeah, a hot tub. So basically, have I been in a hot tub?
Not a kiddie pool with
right. So like the outside ridge, right? But that's where you're sitting. But in the middle, it drops off because there's a step or a seat there. So we got a reporter here from the BBC, and he's doing an interview with the swim team. Now they're not in the pool; they're sitting on like this hot tub. I don't know if it's like a cool down tub or whatever. It doesn't look that hot. So he's as the interview starts, he's standing there, and then he stands up. He does not realize the cliff is there.
Oh, no.
And, you fall in water, equipment doesn't work.
Sarah Vasey, Adam Peaty, Siobhan Marie O'Connor, Ben Proud and James Guy. Congratulations. Oh, I didn't see the step. Sorry about that. Well, that's giving you all a good laugh. Adam's inconsolable there. Just look before you get in a swimming pool in future, OK? I hope you can still hear me.
Mike is carrying on talking, but we can't hear him because a moment ago Mike fell in the water. His pack went in. He doesn't know. We can't hear him now. But goodbye, Mike.
You can watch that video on the Venture Facebook page. The video is great, man. He starts dying laughing and stuff. And not only that, but now he realizes that ledge is there. So when he does the interview, like the first girl, I mean, he is like standing in between her legs doing the interview.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah. I had a buddy years ago that had one of those kind of hot tubs in his backyard, right? He lived down in California, so it was hot. They had a pool and a hot tub.
Sure.
So his son was like 2. Luckily, he won't hear this, so it won't matter. So his son is 2, Bob. Bob's running around the edge of the hot tub, right? And he's naked, and he is scared. He knows if he steps in the middle, it's going to be over his head, right?
Right.
So Bob's kind of sneaking around the edge of the hot tub. Well, there's jets, and Bob goes by one with his buttocks up to it, and then he stops, he smiles, and he goes back to the jet. We're like, Bob, you little perv.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Dad.
But that video is pretty right. I mean, you can imagine if you're having a beverage in the afternoon watching this little.
You don't
pervert.
need to see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's not what you're expecting there.
Bob
Hot tub
was-
seems a little bit more adult than that.
Well, it was, to be
He
honest,
discovered something, Miles.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
found the magical spot,
and it was a warm tub.
the happy place,
It was
the dining and entertainment district.
The other thing Bob did all day was, as little kids are one to do, is keep his hand on his junk,
Of course, kids can't help it, man.
and in the other hand he had a big bag of chips.
Okay, I was going to say
And
like
he
a
was
sippy cup, maybe.
But he would keep walking by and
Just hold his
try to
junk.
hand you some chips, and
Sorry.
it's like, Bob, we don't want junk chips.
And his name was Bob.
Yeah, I think they
Which is
call
amazing.
Right, I think they call him by his proper name now. But
I can't imagine a 2-year-old named Bob.
Right, me and my buddies wouldn't let it go. We thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know that
It's pretty
his
funny.
His wife thought it was awesome. We were like,
Well, they named him
Bob!
Bob. They named him Bob. It's up kind of
No,
on them.
his name is Robert.
Oh, okay,
I'm
sorry.
saying, like, I think they call him by his proper name. We were just being jackasses.
Yeah, 2-year-old Bob. Like,
I
you gotta-
heard Bob once, man, and again, same thing. I'm at a crowded tourist area, and there's a little kid, maybe 3 years old, but he was running near where the water is. It's
All
at
right.
a harbor, and so the parents, like anything, they're yelling at the kid to get away from the water. But it was Bob, get away from the water. And you're right. There's something weird about it stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, this kid's like 3 years old. You don't call him Bob yet, man.
Right.
He's
He
still
could be
even
Bobby,
he's
he
still
could be Robert.
Yeah, right. And even at most Robert, if you want to be a Robert, you can be a Robert for the rest of your life. If you make the choice to be Bobby, from Bobby to Bob, or whatever the deal is, you made that decision on your own.
But Bob is weird when it's a little kid. I feel like he's
Like
bowling
that's what I'm
already.
saying. That decision was not made by him.
Nope, but it was Bob.
No, it was made by the drunk guys, and
Right.
it wasn't our kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like 30
that's why it
years
was so
ago.
Bob likes walking around eating chips, grabbing his junk.
Yeah.
Who's Bob? Oh, he's 2.
Yeah, Bob never wears clothes. You know how he gets.
Bob might be the neighbor.
There's always some weird. You ever know people that own their own pool and they're constantly naked in it?
Yeah, that's why you own your own pool.
Yeah, I would say people that own their own pool.
Yeah, it's just alarming when they're like lunch is served and they're just sitting there naked. Like
The water
this
see
story
through.
has happened.
Hey, look, I had a neighbor who had a pool.
Put some clothes on,
It was a really
Charlie.
nice pool, and he had invited
In
you
your
over all the
50s.
time. Matter of fact, like he would say in the summer, if you want to come over and swim, come over and swim.
Sure.
But just know this: when I get home, the first thing I'm going to do is strip it off all my clothes and go swimming. And it didn't matter if it was still daylight. It didn't matter if it was in the winter and dark. He'd come home, strip off all his clothes, go swimming in his pool. His pool was his life. And you knew if you walked over there, he'd be like, "You guys know I just got home and naked." You're like, "Okay, Bill, can we have a beer?" He'd be like, "You come back at 15, man." So we go back, because he just wanted to be naked for a while.
Did anybody swim naked with him?
I'm sure his wife did, but that was the whole thing. Like, he was very cool about you being able, as a kid, like in the neighborhood.
Oh,
I
you
know
were
I got
kids.
I
All
know,
right,
I
all
know,
right.
like, I know I got a pool. I'll give you a sip of my beer, that kind of guy. But ultimately, when I come home from work, I'm going to jump in this pool naked. I'm going to swim around. This is how I, kind of end my day, and this is what I do. If you guys hear me out here, just know I'm naked.
Yeah.
That's
So
a fair warning.
It was, and he would let us swim in his pool during the day, and we would take care of it and skim the bugs and all that crap for our keep. And
I think the only time I've really been hot tubbing naked with buddies was because one guy didn't have a suit We were at somebody's house, and he's like, well, I got to go naked. So in solidarity, we all went naked.
Oh, I'd have done the opposite.
How many dudes were naked in a hot tub?
4.
How many chicks were in there?
0.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not a good time.
Yeah. And maybe one of the other owners.
Solidarity.
Yeah, one of the other owners. Like, let's just say you did this, and then the dad that owned the house was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then the mom came out and was like, why are you idiots naked in my hot tub?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
I've been it, man.
It was awkward at best.
Yeah. It's even weird. It's
yeah.
even weird to hear.
This chick I used to work with, man, she used to work in restaurants, and she was house sitting around the corner, and she's like, look, man, they have a hot tub on their roof. Invites everybody over, everyone that worked at the restaurant. We're like, hell yeah, same thing. Everyone's butt naked. We're partying. We're not being disrespectful, but we're drunk. We're having a good time. But all the action is in the hot tub. And this is in a row home, so we are on the roof of a third-floor building. The point being, say the homeowners come home early, you don't hear the front door open because, again, they're man, this couple walks up, and I don't recognize it because I don't know them. I don't know whose house she's watching. And but you knew who they were as soon as you saw it. They're trying to be cool, but you talk about a raging party, just gets dead silent. Everyone just quietly gets out of the hot tub, gets dressed, leaves. Poor girl that's watching the house, she got to stay back and talk with them. So we see her the next day at work. We're like, how did it go? And she's like, well, I mean, like, they were as cool as they were going to be, but I will not be their house sitter anymore.
No.
Like, probably not, because there's a lot of drugs up there. I mean, there's coke, weed, beer, you name it, man.
It's a
hot tub party.
It was a hot tub party. Thank you.
Out of town one weekend with the wife. We went on a little skiing weekend, and we were coming back Tuesday. And where we were, the place was packed, and those crazy Canadians, they love drinking beer, sitting in the hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were there Friday and Saturday night, and it got to the point where you could not get a spot in the hot tub, let alone 2 people. So we could never take advantage of the hot tub. Sunday night comes around, and there's just 2 people, because we could kind of see it from the window in our room, the pool, the hot tub. In the hot tub, this is our moment. We can go down there. We can get in the hot tub. So we go down, and you have to wear, you're wearing your robe. You got your bathing suit on. It's freezing, man. It's like 20 degrees. You can see the steam off the pool, the steam off the hot tub. You hang up your robe. You walk over there in your flip-flops. And you get in the hot tub, and we're talking to this couple. They're a very nice couple. And we're talking for a while.
Were they lovers?
They were
Hello,
together.
lover.
Yes, they were lovers. And so the guy, he's like, hey, man. He's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Uh-oh.
Lift off.
Did that touch cotton?
Woo. No.
So, man, I hope that's not as dirty as it was yesterday. Jesus, please. So the guy says, hey, man, we're going to go get something to drink. Do you want anything? And and I'm like, well, yeah, man, I'll pitch in on a beer. I was like, do you want me to go up and get it? And he's like, no, I got to take care of something anyway. He's got couples from New Zealand. So the guy gets up and he bolts towards the robes, right? And all of a sudden you see this flat, white, bare ass. And he's kind of like a bigger guy, like the Kiwis are kind of pretty stacked up dudes. And he's got a buzz cut. He's just kind of like waddling over there, like he looks like a sergeant. You know what I mean? Like this big, thick-barreled dude.
A naked sergeant.
But you see his flat white ass. You know what I mean? And he grabs his robe and he puts it on. And his wife said something to him. And then you see him come back over, and he gives her bathing suit. And it turns out, they've been in there with us talking the whole time. They were butt naked. They were probably having a real good time before we got there.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we showed up, we're like, all right, I guess we crashed their party a little bit. But then they're like, all right, let's start drinking. So
yeah, you're a buzzkill.
He kind of dropped the bathing suit off for her, put on his bathing suit, then went and bought beer. And we came back and hung out for, another hour and a half, drinking, hanging out.
I'd have been like, well, hell, I'm kicking off my shorts.
But I had no idea they were both naked when we got in there. I wasn't even paying attention.
That's just a ski resort hot tub thing.
Yeah.
I've done it too. I was making captain of diets, and then the guy was like, I got champagne. Bring it out.
Yeah, let's do it. Once you're in there, you're like, we are in. We're staying.
Yeah, well, that's the fun thing about ski resort hot tubs. Everybody knows we're not going in the morning.
Let's get up early. We're
going to get up.
You're going to get freshy stuff. No, you're not.
All right, so you busted that guy in the hot tub, right? You didn't realize he was naked.
And his wife.
Right, kind of caught him there. Jimmy Fallon had some funny how I got busted tweets.
All right, here we go. I got busted. Here we go. This one's from at AJ Doris. He says, I once wrote the answers to a final on my hand. On the way out the door, I made the mistake of waving goodbye to my teacher. This one's from at Miss Momo Girl. She says, one time I threw a party when my parents were out of town. I thought I was in the clear until my dad found beer can pyramids in every single kitchen cabinet. That's what people do, man. Yeah. Why? Why would you do this? They wanted them to get busted.
Yeah.
Oh, what brats. Come on, man. That's pretty funny. This one's from @KelHannah1. She says, I once asked my mom to take a picture on my phone for Instagram. After I'd been posing for a while, she yelled, wow, honey, 51 people are watching. She accidentally started a live stream. How embarrassing. Oh, my God. This one's from @IrishRose8. She says, my friend and I snuck into a bar when we were 17. The bartender brought over drinks from someone at the bar. We turned to thank them, and it was my dad.
Drink up, because you're grounded. You're grounded for life. Last thing you drink.
This last one is from @Sarah Spain from ESPN. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for playing the game. She says, I went on my first date with my now husband to a Cubs-Cardinals day game at Wrigley Field. Boss saw us in the bleachers on TV and texted me, how's the game, Ferris? There you go. Those are our Tonight Show hashtags.
You know, it's funny. I just saw, we were talking about this earlier. There was a story of a kid that went to a Cubs day game, right?
Yeah.
So he had a sign that said, like, you know, at the game, don't tell my principal.
Skipping school kind of thing.
Right. So Major League Baseball tweeted out the picture, but they kind of, like, blacked out his eyes, you know, just that bar, so you couldn't tell who it was, which I thought's pretty cool, right?
Sure.
Obviously, his parents are big baseball fans. So then at the game, he runs into his actual principal who's there with his kid.
And gets a picture with him.
Yeah, and it's funny because the principal was even like, "Oh man, I didn't want to see him either."
Right,
like
like,
we're all skipping what we're supposed to be doing right now. We shouldn't, probably shouldn't be there. Kind of interesting here. It's a list of the top 10 Netflix show people watch with their pets.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, watch with your pet, man. Come on.
Yeah. Well, here's some stats. 71% of people find their pets to be the best binge-watching partner.
Yeah, because your pets hang out with you, but they don't care what you're doing.
So, hang on. What else don't pets do?
Talk.
Yes! If you're watching TV, of course it's the ultimate person to hang out with.
You shared a biblical story with us about why that is.
I am thoroughly convinced there are certain animals that definitely like certain shows based on whatever the stimuli is, whether it's audio, whether it's visual. My cat, Senor Larry, he loves Bob's Burgers. There's something about Bob's Burgers.
It's a great show.
It's the animation. There's a voice on there. He literally goes and he stops and he just watches Bob's Burgers. Now, Gomez is a big fan of Megyn Kelly in the morning. So, for whatever reason, when they switch over from the Today Show to Megyn Kelly, my cat comes over and lays in front of the television and watches.
He's probably trying to figure out why no one else watches.
I don't. It's not that I think. Granted, Megyn Kelly is a very attractive woman.
But
I'm
her
not
show
sure exactly. But there's something.
She's awful.
There's something about either the way they start the show, the clapping. I don't like. I'm trying to figure out what it is at the beginning of the show. There's no music really or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's her voice, I guess.
Maybe he's still impressed with the Putin.
Look, he was astray. So I don't know if the person sounds like that. There's got to be something.
Does the cat go over and, like, physically, like, sit down? Like,
I'll film it, and I'll bring it in. So
All
you
right.
guys can watch it. You can go, like, what is this? This is insane. I don't understand.
some of the shows people like to watch with their animals: Better Call Saul, The Ranch. I've never seen this show, but I'm assuming it's about the delicious dressing.
The Ranch?
Yeah,
The Ranch.
Gotta be.
They're at Hidden Valley.
It's got to be that thing.
We're in
Every
Hidden Valley,
episode,
Utah.
every episode is like a standoff. Like, it's French fries and tots. Do you put ranch on it? Put ranch on it.
Pizza on
Daredevil, Black Mirror. You guys watch Black Mirror yet?
I've
No.
seen a few episodes.
Yeah, I've heard that's when you get into it's hard to get out of.
It's not that. I mean, the episodes are hit and miss because it's not a serial. I mean, it's an anthology, so each episode is unrelated to anything else you saw, right?
Oh,
so
nice.
when they're good, they're good. When they're not, they're not. But it's not. It's not a cliffhanger. But all of that said, I think it's worth checking out. It's always kind of trippy, and it's just about where technology is going to do you dirty.
Fuller House is on the list.
Oh, you know why you're watching that with your pet? I do.
I think Fuller
You
House.
don't have friends. If you're an adult watching Fuller House, I know why you're watching. And you're not watching it with your dog. You're watching it with your cat.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but most of the time you're at home, you're watching television, you're on the couch, you're in the comfort zone. Your animals are with you. They are paying attention to whatever you're doing. Like, this is their time, too. Jesus, God.
What? Just ignore
Just
it,
sounded
man.
wet.
Just ignore it.
It just sounded
Well,
wet.
I mean, that's part of this list, too, right? Like, Stranger
farting?
Things is number one. No, like, Is there really a list of shows you
No.
watch with your pets? Like,
No.
the pet, you're right. If you're sitting on the couch, kind of hanging out and cuddled up, the dog's probably going to sit there with you either way. It doesn't matter what you're watching.
I would argue that the cats at home, Rainbow the black cat, watches the news every night because at about 11 o'clock, as the cat goes through its normal routine, if I'm watching the news, the cat joins me on the
That sounded like a softball-sized paintball hitting a rubber raft.
Kind of. It kind of felt like that, too. But I don't think the cat cares about the news. I just think, like, at 11 o'clock every night, the cat fires, and wherever I am is where the cat goes.
I just think I don't understand why these people's pets don't like Narcos. It's the best show on Netflix. Here's another stat.
You watch that with your mule.
28% of people have turned to their pets for comfort during a sad or scary scene.
During a scene? Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
No, I don't
27% of people have talked to their pet about the show or movie they are watching.
I don't do that either.
Yeah, I mean...
But I do talk about just dumb stuff with...
To the animal, sure. But
how was your day? Like he's going to say anything back to me. Like, I get it.
I realize I do that with the cat. He's got one of those loud screaming cats. Meow! And I'm going like, what?
And then...
I'm like, he's not going to say, hey, the football game's on later tonight.
And I always
His
go like...
response is always the same, which is, meow!
And I always go, and then what happened? He goes, meow. I'm like, no kidding. I continue.
It's a great
Tell me
day.
more.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. All right, let's go. We got headlines on the way with Mike Hawk, a.k.a. Steve the Thrill Hill, in minutes. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Donald Trump pardons Dick Cheney aide Scooter Libby, saying he doesn't know the guy. Mylan Pharmaceuticals does not make enough EpiPens, so if you live in England, there's a good chance you might die. Rescue dog chews through her kennel at Canadian airport, and the story does not end well. Ron Burgundy drives back from San Diego and has a car wreck story to tell. And Donald Trump not happy with James Comey. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines.
All right, let's start.
Here's Mike Hawk.
Son of a
Just cut him
bitch.
off before he starts.
I am not Mike Hawk. But I do have some news. Things got creepy in Germany when a man grabbed a stranger's child and jumped in the path of an oncoming train at the train station. Now, the man is believed to be an asylum seeker. That's a way to get asylum. He spotted the boy with his mother, grabbed him without saying a word, then jumped from the platform with the boy onto the tracks as the train was approaching. Now, there is good news. The man and the boy both survived after the train rolled over them. Now, the boy suffered minor injuries. The man, inexplicably, unhurt. The child's mother, who was on the platform with her other two children, they say she was comforted by fellow travelers. This as medics pulled her son to safety. Now, the man may have been trying to injure himself to prevent deportation, but it's not clear why he took the kid with him. Police do say that he's known to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's heavy duty.
We continue. President Trump has issued a full pardon to Louis Scooter Libby. That's the former top aide to Vice President Dick Cheney. You might remember this guy. He was Cheney's former chief of staff, and he was convicted of lying to investigators and obstruction of justice following the 2003 leak of the identity of an active CIA operative. That was Valerie Plame. There's a whole reason for that, but when I asked Trump, why would you pardon this guy, he said, well, I don't know him, but I heard he was being treated unfairly. Brother, he was not being treated unfairly. He was not being treated unfairly. Let's go to Britain, where apparently they're about to run out of the life-saving EpiPens. This, of course, puts thousands of allergy sufferers at risk. Now, a source working with Alliance Healthcare, that's the United Kingdom's only distributor of the EpiPen, said they finished their stock earlier in the week. And this came amid warnings by manufacturers about a potential global shortage of the device. Meanwhile, Mylan, that's the Pennsylvania-based firm that manufactures the device, they warned about a life-and-death situation earlier this week.
That's not what's happening. The bottom line is that they're not putting those. The priority is the highest price point first. Most of those EpiPens go to the United States and then funnel down from there. If you have a central healthcare system where that's not worth the crap, then they're not putting those pins there first. They're making their money where they can, even if it's overstocked in certain places, so they get their price point will go up. Yeah. So in England, where you have universal health care, the idea being that you don't have to pay as much for that kind of stuff.
Well, they don't want you to die.
Right.
But beyond that, here's the thing. What they're doing is they're shorting the storage because they're going to make more money from England, who normally would not pay as much.
Correct.
But when it comes to life and death, we know how that
they're going to jack up the price.
Aren't those the pens that everybody... Or no. Sorry, I was thinking about Narcan.
Well, it's not too far off if your throat swells up because you got stung by a bee or you have a peanut allergy, or you're going to die if you don't get that shot, you know?
Well, if they cared, they'd have it.
Or you have a chance to. Not guaranteed, but yeah.
A Canadian rescue dog's journey to her new home what ended tragically after she escaped her kennel, ran loose on an airport runway, this in Winnipeg. Greta, the 2-year-old Labrador mix, she was on her way to northern Manitoba, and she was going to head to a new city. But she chewed through the plastic portion of her kennel, escaped when the plane door was open. Airport officials say they had no choice but to shoot the dog after she evaded wildlife control officers' attempts to corral her, and then she ran near an active runway.
Go Jets!
But they say it even caused an incoming flight from Las Vegas to abort its landing. I was on a plane once, and they gave us a similar thing. We were on the runway. We hadn't taken off yet and said, we're going to have to delay the flight. There's a dog on the runway. And I'm like, fire up the engines and roll toward it. What I know about dogs is they'll move. It will get out of the way.
They must have
if you roll a plane. Dogs aren't stupid.
They must have a huge fence around SeaTac because there's coyotes everywhere around that area. I mean, they are everywhere. So they must have some kind of a fence to keep them out.
But again, run the risk. The dog will move. Sure. Believe me. Yeah. Actor Will Ferrell, you may have heard of him. He was in a serious car crash. This happened on Thursday in Orange County, California. He was in an SUV. He was a passenger. But that SUV got side-swiped by a Toyota. They were on I-5. Well, guess what? The car flipped over. He was taken on a stretcher to the hospital, but believe it or not, he basically escaped injury-free, although I'm sure he pooped his pants at least a little bit. We may have brought you the story, I'm not sure, but a 37-year-old man named Bernard Jackson, he recently got evicted from his house near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. When the cops tried to kick him out last week, it naturally started a 4-hour standoff. He claimed to be a sovereign citizen, meaning he had run out of excuses, and it also means that he's not governed by the laws of the U.S., but no, you have to be a politician for that. But he would not come out, so a SWAT team, they had to go in and get him. But once they were inside, they smelled gasoline, and when they tried to go upstairs and arrest him, he held them off by setting fire to the stairs, and it actually worked until his feet caught on fire. Then he needed their medical attention. Yeah, he didn't think it all the way through.
Thank you, Steve. We'll see you next time for the turn of the random question. Your guess is as good as mine. The word is back. Profile this, and we'll drink and toast with a shot of the day.
Yes, indeed. It is all true. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The men's room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided